Hai. Halo semua. Hai. Halo semua. Hai. Bentar, suaranya agak feedback Ryan. Hai. Bentar, suaranya agak feedback Ryan. 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 Halo semua, cek. Wah, biasa ya kalau kita live itu kadang-kadang ada sedikit ada sedikit teknis gitu, tapi ya itu bagian dari kita nge-live lah. So, hi everyone, ya, hopes we are in great shape, ya. Dan buat teman-teman di Indo, ya ternyata Paweł dan Damien dari Neuron ternyata mengundang beberapa audiens dari luar negeri juga. So kita nanti campur ya, mungkin mayoritas kita akan bicara dengan bahasa Inggris, tapi buat rekan-rekan yang ingin tanya, ingin japri silakan ya. Dan dalam beberapa saat ke depan ya kita akan mulai ya, dan kita dengar presentasi dari para researcher SEO ini. Jadi kalian akan menerima materi-materi baru seputar SEO yang mungkin kalian jarang dengar ya. Jadi kita akan mulai agak banyak bahasa Inggris ya. Jadi kalian mesti siapkan hati ya. Dan buat kalian yang ingin dalam tanda kutip ya nanti berdiskusi lebih lanjut, saya lagi mengundang Damian untuk nanti bisa diskusi langsung pada saat dia nanti di Jakarta, karena dia akan ke Jakarta, akan menjadi salah satu pembicara SEOCON. Ya, saya akan greeting international audience dulu ya. So everyone, welcome to the show. Yeah, my name is Victor. I'm from Doxa Digital, and I will be your host for tonight. Yeah. So in Jakarta, this is 7 p.m. So hi from everyone around the world. Yeah, thank you for coming to this webinar, and hopefully we are going to have a productive hours, like an hour or more, to discuss about how AI changed the face of search engine. So I hope you all know or go into the Google's presentation last week or last 2 weeks about the new Google Search Generative AI. So to put everyone here in context, I will play a clip for you about what happened or what's going to be the search engine in the future. And hopefully you all prepare and ready. And this is the first webinar from SEOCON, from me, and perhaps from Neuron team, yeah, to introduce you about the next generative search AI. I will put you the clip, yeah, so everyone can have the same common ground about what's going to be happen in the future for all of us in SEO industry. Enjoy the video.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa, move fast, move slow, catch me on a roll, come say hello, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yes.
Come say hello, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
You got this. Let's go.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? And the answer is
Yes.
no.
Yes.
No.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa. I'ma make them talk like.
All right. So hopefully this give us a great context about what happened in the futures. So I get you some points. So if you see on the presentation, yeah, you can do follow-ups on your searches. You can have answers. So it's not about search anymore. It's about answering engine. Yeah. And some of us, perhaps like Indonesian forum, a lot of SEO practitioner say, okay, this is the end of SEO. Ya, so buat teman-teman yang ada di forum Indonesia, mungkin di timeline sudah mulai banyak topik nih. SEO is dead. Ya, so everyone is talking about the new phase of SEO. It's going to be something. What you call? It's threatening. Yeah, we're going to deep dive into this context. Yeah, the traffic can be lower than ever. So, but don't worry about all of this because we have you now, our expert. I believe the Neuron team is the one who done a lot of studies about this generative search experience. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Neuron team. We have Paweł and Damian. So please introduce yourself, Paweł and Damian. Go ahead.
So maybe we'll share a screen and introduce ourselves and already start the presentation with the agenda and so on. So okay. So Damian, can you share the screen?
Yes, the screen is yours. The time is yours. Yeah, I will do some translate for our Indonesian fellow ya. So in the chat ya, saya akan bikin beberapa translate ya, fokus penting ya dari pembicaraan presentasi Paweł and Damian. So Paweł and Damian, please share your insight about this.
Yeah, okay, so a little bit about us. So we are Contadu team. In Contadu, we have two main products. One is Contadu, which is like a content intelligence platform, and the second one is Neuron Writer, which is more focused on the writing content, just a content generation as well. As you can see, we have a lot of from many countries, and Victor is our user as well. Really happy to know you from, I don't know, a year ago, something like this. We met from the beginning. Yeah, first time with Victor. And indeed, the way how search change, it's something that we have seen already about 2-3 years, and we will go into details how you can also look in those details, how you can teach yourself, how you can educate yourself about this, what Google is busy with, what will be the next steps in Google, how Google see the search, and how Google see the company as well, because Google, the part of the Google that we are seeing is a very small part. We are just focusing on the SEO, on the search, and the organic search mainly, but the Google is a very large organization, and they have a lot of different teams which are really trying to combine the different data sources to one experience for the Google user, whatever the user is. It's a map, it's ads, it's on some kind of business, local businesses, and so on. So we'll try to go through this a little bit, and also this is where we will go through the presentation that Victor already gave us from IO conference a few days ago, where they also went through the different experience according to AI. Okay, so this is the agenda for today, and we will split a little bit the presentation apart. From Damian will be more technical, and from me will be more just overall, like the way how the search works. And the main question right now is, this is something that Victor already mentioned, that we understand with the AI there is some kind of change when we have more display than search. And this is something where Google it's already using the generative search terminology. So the search which is generated, it's not really displayed, it's generated, generative search. And probably that's something in the becoming years we will really change a little bit the way how we are looking on the SEO. So we will look more on this, how the how the content can be generated in our favor. So how to really teach the machines to take the content from us, what to do that they will really trust our content and so on. And then that will be the way how the change will in SEO world approach to the next years. Because Victor said that the SEO is dead. We don't really think that it's dead. We are thinking that it's evolving, and we have more technology, and this is something where we will understand that we have to change as well according to the technology. So that will be the agenda. And so the overview from the agenda will be, or the points for you will be, what we can do in 2023 to prepare for this change, and what we can do to align our content production to AI. So how can AI understand us better? Victor, do you need some time for translation? Are you going to do some kind of wrap up, or?
Go ahead. I just type your key point to our Indonesian audience.
Okay. So we understand that for the mainstream, the big change was the last year, November, when the ChatGPT was open for the mainstream. So it was a beta which was open, and they have a great interface, because there is a lot of technical user, I would say geeks, which has open access to the OpenAI much earlier. But it was a playground. It was quite technical. It was more for the programmers, I would say so. But in the November, when they just opened the beta testing for every person, we have a big shift, and then we understand as a society that ChatGPT or AI technology can be used everywhere. I mean, like everywhere. And this is also the point where Bing looks like it's winning with the Google. So the way how Bing adopt the ChatGPT, how we have the solutions in the Bing products, like for example Skype. Skype is a great example how you can chat with ChatGPT, and it's a live chat. I mean, like the results are live. It's much better than the ChatGPT itself. And of course, the challenge for the Google was how to change this shift a little bit on the Google side. So because it's not like the Google engineers are not working. They are maybe less efficient in presenting the results, or maybe also the way how the Google keep the patents and how they use the patents, because they don't really know, or they don't really like to share the secrets with us, or share some kind of knowledge with the audience. So the way how they work as a company, it's quite different from OpenAI, where they can just say, okay, we have a great product here, please try it. So how this works in the Google? In the Google, they have something which is called the Brain team, so Google Brain. And this is like the scientific approach, the team of the scientific people which are working on the algorithm, on something which is called mainly rank brain, which is responsible for the way how people get the search results. So what they really have. And also they have some kind of development team for the new AI products. And this is what they just inform us in the last conference, that they are just, I would say, aligning those two teams, and they are just making one team, which is called DeepMind in Google. And they just sent 160 dedicated top scientists to this team to win the challenge with the Bing, I would say so, with the Bing, with the ChatGPT, and to provide as soon as possible the generative search in the Google interface. And Victor says that it will be a future, and this what they are saying. The future is like a few months. So we will see the English results in a month. I'm already waiting for the beta test, so we will see the English generative results quite fast. And then they say they will be till the end of the year in at least 30 countries. So it will be quite fast. And then there are some challenges on the Google team. And main challenge is, according to this, what happens with the ChatGPT as well, is the responsibility and trust. How we can trust the data, which is delivered by AI, and how they can really trust the source. Because the main challenge for the team is how to get the right data to process, to have the facts, the real facts, and so on. So this
Okay,
is
Paweł,
something that they are.
Paweł, I need to stop you a bit because some audience cannot see the slide. So everyone, are you seeing the slide right now? Who's not seeing the slide? Some of the audience see the slide. Okay, now yes, black screen. No, cannot see that. I do. Okay, it's pretty clear. Great.
But we are
Okay,
recording
okay.
this, yes, Victor. We are recording
Yeah,
this. So
yeah.
maybe that will be the.
So if any of you cannot see the slide, please wait for the recording. Yeah. So we're going to release the recording. All right. Okay, Paweł.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so as you can see here on the chart, the Google already after the last I/O conference, they get the stock prices to the last level before the ChatGPT was present on the market, because they were losing traction with the customers, like the Apple, the Samsung, and so on. They were just discussing if they shouldn't use Bing as a main search engine in the telephones, in the phones that we have, like Samsung phones and the Apple phones. So this is something that really pushed Google to deliver the solutions this year as soon as possible. And also they said that they are working on the Gemini project, which is quite a big project, which will give you some kind, I call this search assistant or a personal assistant, and which will be fed with our data. We will go through this a little bit in the next steps, but this is really big story, because if you are thinking about the ChatGPT, they don't really understand what we are doing daily. And if you look on the data that Google has, they knew everything about us. They knew our shopping behavior, they knew our localization, they knew our history, browsing history, all the Gmails that you have sent, and so on and so on. So they have a lot of data about you, and they can really create the personal assistant that will be, I would say, maybe not perfect, but quite perfect, according to this, what they are trying to do with the Gemini project. Okay, so let's go through the way how this started, or how at least I understand that this started. So in 2021, there was one of the papers from the brain team, when they understood that there is a technology, there is AI generative technology, but the problem was on the fact level checking. So it was just hallucinating too much, and so on and so on. And they already understand that the challenge in the next years will be how to deliver the quality in the search results. And if you would like to just look for this paper, it's an opinion paper from the brain team. It's making domain expert out of the dilettantes. You can just read it. It's not really long. And in this paper from 2021, it's already a preview how this will work. And it's quite similar to this, what we have seen on the 2023 I/O conference. And this is what we understand, that for Google, the quality, the data quality was the main factor here. So how to understand the data, how to understand the data in the different languages, because sometimes if you ask for the president, it should be a different answer, different cultural knowledge, and so on and so on. So that was the challenges on the Google level. And maybe Damian will say a little bit more about how we develop from this where we are now in the 2 years, because the 2 years seems like nothing, but according to the AI and technology, and this what we are seeing, 2 years ago it was like like a paper that I would think it will take 5 years to develop this technology, because it was just like even they do not know how to do this. And right now we are seeing that they are already developing this technology, and probably it will be visible for the end users in a month. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about how this started.
Okay, so let's take a step back to think about how we developed the current state of our language models, and I think it will also help us understand their limitations and what is required to make better use of them in the future. So first of all, as probably most of you know, the language models we are talking about are just huge neural networks and probably the biggest neural networks that were ever created. And as you can see, the dynamics in growth of these language models was just nothing short of crazy, because we are talking about increasing the size 100 times in 2 years. And it led from models like GPT-2 in 2019 to GPT-3, which most of you are familiar with, in just 2 years. And GPT-3 was at the time the largest neural network with 175 billion parameters. And these parameters describe the way the neural network evaluates its output. As you can see, there are a lot of nodes and a lot of neurons in the neural network, and each of these billions of connections has its own weight that is described by a neural network parameter. And the larger the size of the neural network, the more complex relationships and the more complex context the neural network is capable of handling. And how these neural networks were created. So as you probably know, the biggest issue in developing the neural network is creating a data set. So in case of GPT-3, we use an input that is just a text, and we remove the next word from this data set, present the first part to the network, and the network tries to guess what the next word will be. And if the output is correct, then fine. But if the output is not as expected, then we reevaluate the weights of the network to make it learn more about the language and its dependencies. So basically, what the network is capable of is building the probability model of the language. So predicting the next words based on the preceding part. But as you know, because these language models are quite large, these networks are capable of extracting very complex dependencies and guessing the following part based on very complex input. So, and as you can see, this is the training process we talked about. So the model updates based on whether the guessed word was right or not. Okay, so this is something that was announced in 2020. Later on, we had announcements about GPT-4 that was expected to have like 500 times more parameters than GPT-3, but it was just a rumor, so that's not particularly true. And later on, we've had models that were both bigger than GPT-3, but also capable of understanding more complex instructions. And the huge milestone was in January of 2022 with Instruct GPT models, and also later on the same year with GPT 3.5 that was capable of understanding more complex instructions and also making use of wider context, so that you could make it produce exactly the output you are looking for based on really directed commands. And as Paweł said, in November with the premiere of ChatGPT, the technology became widespread and entered the mainstream, with ChatGPT getting about 1 million users in just 2 months. And it also made Google to join the chase probably faster than they wanted. And also with the premiere of GPT-4 that is not only using much wider context because it's capable of consuming, as far as I remember, up to 32 tokens of input. So for instance, and I also want to invite you to watch the GPT-4 premiere because I think it's just mind-blowing. Because of this wide context capabilities, it also can extract knowledge and answer questions based on the provided input. So, for instance, when fed with the build text, it can answer law-related questions pretty deeply and just as well as most lawyers do. And it's also multimodal. That means it can take as an input different types of media, not only text. So this is also related to the next steps a modern search engine should take, such as Google, to be able to better analyze different types of media and generate output and respond to complex questions and tasks based on different types of media. Okay, so while we've already said a bit about the language models, there are some tasks that language models are good at, and there are tasks which language models aren't so good at. So writing generic content, summarization and coding is probably their advantage. Also, being able to understand or extract information from unstructured data and responding to questions provided by the user in a manner that is similar to just having a conversation with a human being is definitely their strong point. But on the other hand, they are missing some capabilities that search engines had, and that is indexing the web, also providing fresh factual knowledge. Also, they struggled with providing citations and information about the sources that is leading to real expertise, and these expertise and sources did get lost in the training process. So that was a huge problem, and it was maybe the most important limitation in terms of making use of these language models when combining them with the search engines. So in order to make use of these language models and provide user with a better search experience, Google is developing new language models such as Palm 2, and it's a second version of a model that was previously developed 1 year ago with, as far as I remember, 540 billion parameters. But now with better training corpus and also the new training capabilities because of the bigger computational power, it's able to do better reasoning and also deal with tasks that previous models were not so good at. And I'll give you some examples in a moment. And as Paweł said, Google is also working on providing user with an extended experience that benefits from both generative AI, and it also can be included in shopping experience or providing visual aid. Also, Google works on integrating its own services, but not only this, also Google is working on integrations with other companies such as Adobe to provide user with an experience that was never available before. So this is probably the main challenge. And here you can see some examples of the new language models and what they are capable of. The Palm 2 language model was trained on text corpus that had information from multiple languages and different domains, and also some academical sources, which will lead to better quality and more factual knowledge. And as you can see here, it's capable of catching some nuances in translation and language understanding. Here you can also see the example of its reasoning capabilities, and it's doing a much better job of scoring a high score on typical reasoning benchmarks. And also another example is being able to understand the code, fixing it and making modifications based on your instructions, which is a capability similar to what we've seen with GPT-4. And as you can see, the new model is capable of passing medical tests just as good as the medical experts, which is similar to what GPT-4 is capable of. And during the GPT-4 premiere, we've heard that it's capable of passing the bar exam in the top 10 or 12% of the students. And to sum it up and talk about the new requirements for the modern search engine, the most important one is combining the strengths of language models and search engines, so that we disengage the weaknesses of both of them. Also handling wider context, and as we've seen from the Google I/O presentation, making user type more information and to enrich the previous searches, and also handling information about the user, his preferences, will allow the search engine to
Sorry, Paweł. I think your audio is bit feedback. Okay, so I'll ask you to continue. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So also providing source citations and links leading to the real expertise is very important, and multimodality that allows to make use of different types of media and generate content based on different input from a really wide variety of sources, and also integrating with other services that I said about, both with Google services and third-party services, and of course, which we've already seen. Because these language models are getting bigger and bigger, they are capable of learning more complex relationships and gathering more information and deeper insights on topics from different domains. So basically, we are going to the language models that have all the knowledge that was ever uploaded to the internet. So I think this is the future.
Okay, so what we have next here. Yeah, so all this what Damian just explained, how Google search team or Google Brain team is going to catch up on the GPT. It's just a technological barriers which they are just, like I would say, doing right now. So they are just looking for the solutions how to build a better product than the ChatGPT. And if you would like to know more, it's a great resource. It's called research.google. And there are different teams on this page where you can have a blog about the research, what the research team is doing in Google. You have split by different teams, and there is a language processing team, and you have also the information about the new elements and the new technologies that they are working on. So that's something that they are just working on right now, something that you can look what will be the future of search. And here you have, for example, question answering with questionable assumptions. So how the AI can do the assumption what you are asking for. So this is all the recent models, the recent elements that are published. So they are open. Yes, they are not really up to date. They are already late. So they are open already for the audience, and you can look and check what you can expect in the long term from the Google search team, and how, for example, the elements or the models like Palm 2 will evolve. And here you have a lot of information about, for example, like multimodal learning and so on and so on. So this is what they are busy with. And let's talk about what is the output from this brain team, from this DeepMind team, what is called right now, and how it will be useful for us. So first of all, how the search will change in the next few months or the next years. So we already expected from this research paper that there will be a big part of the answer for the user question, which will be generated by AI, and it will be just presented in the search results. And this is something what we are seeing right now from the conference. You can also go for Google Labs and sign up for beta test. I signed up already, but they will give up the beta test access in the next 30 days. So if you are interested, you can sign up. You just have to use the VPN from US, and you will have access to this technology in the next 30 days. And what is the most important? The most important is that first of all, they will bring you the generative answer to any question. I mean, like any question. So it doesn't really matter what you are searching for. Then AI will generate the answer, and the answer will be formatted in the way which will be most useful for you. So if you are asking, for example, like in this example, about the Earth or which planet is similar to Earth and so on, they will give you some kind of results about the planets, about the Wikipedia results, what are the sizes of different planets, size comparison, as you can see on the image, and so on and so on. So they will already answer your question. And here I try to figure it out where will be the fault. So this is the default fault. So what you are seeing on the screen and what you have to scroll for. And looks like everything what is presented right now, it will be above the fault. So the organic search will be really lower than fault, or will be just on the fault level, which means that probably that what the user will see with generative search will be only the answer from Google and the ads. And all the organic results will be lower. I mean, like the organic results. Of course, this what you are seeing on the right side. Here are the citation sources. So they are telling you from where they have the data. So what is the trustable source of the data? And here we have like study.com, NSA, NASA, and Science. So you can already understand that you have to be in the top 3 or top 6 or maybe top 9. We will see how they divide the sources, but you have to be very trustable information source in the organic, which leads to the next step, that you have to be really expert in your niche. So to have your page really visible in this generative search display, you really have to have a very good content, which will be on top of the answers and will be fact checked. So not anymore something like 2,000 words article about nothing. You have to be really expert, and you really have to deliver the facts that AI will use to generate the answer. And this is quite strong change according to this, how we are seeing the SEO and how we are seeing content generation, because it's not really going to, it's also mentioned in this paper, in this research paper, that Google don't really want to have a copycats. And copycat is just like a parrot, which just repeating the facts which are already visible somewhere for Google. So they really need to have a new facts, and they really need to have some new data sources which they can trust. And this is very important. So if you would like to really focus on content creation, then probably your content creation has to be really on top of this what you are creating, like really new elements, not something like generative AI and just repeating the content that you have already. The next huge change is a change according to the product graph. So Google has a large, or I would say the huge product graph. It's a knowledge graph about the product, how much the product related to themselves, how much they cost, the categories, the usability, and everything what we know about the products. So if you can imagine, they say that they have almost 2 billion new products that they update daily. So this is the amount of the product that they are working on. So they have a large amount of the products which can be used for the generative display. And they are going to do this because we have also the demo how they are searching for the bike, which I will show you in a minute. But this is also very important information for you, that there are some elements that probably you have to update. So first of all, it's a rich data. So if you are not using the rich data in your e-commerce or in your website, then you have to start using the rich data, because the rich data is the most efficient way of communicating with Google robots according to the product graph, according to all the graphs. I mean, the knowledge graphs, the article graph, the auto graph, and so on and so on. So this is something that it's really like a must have, because, for example, they will search if you have a product in stock, if it's available, and if it's not available, they will not display it. If the information is not available for the Google bots, if your product is there, how much it costs, and so on and so on, it won't be displayed, and so on. So this is very important for you to really update your pages according to the rich data. And for example, there is a lot of pages in Indonesia. Sorry, maybe that will be funny, but it's price on WhatsApp. That was super funny for me. You have to call on WhatsApp or message on WhatsApp to understand the price, how much it will cost. So if you have something like this on your website, that probably you will be never ever used as a good example by AI to point a user which is searching for something to your shop, because they will not really understand what your price is. So this is very important to communicate correctly with the search engine, and this is also the same on the local search. On the local search, rich data, so like what is the price, what do you have in the menu, what kind of reviews you have, and so on and so on. It's very important. And also here I would like to focus on this, that external pages will be super important. It will be way more important than you can imagine, because Google and in general AI will learn about you from other points. So not only from your website, because your website will be just like a one touch point, but also from the other websites. And we will go on this on the workshop, how you can check which website you should cover and so on. But that's something during the conference, of course. So you can join you should join the conference. But this is very important that you really focus on distribution the information. I mean, like, for example, if you have the restaurant, that you should be somewhere in the, like a Google Maps, you have to be in the local inventories, local directories. You should have the reviews, you should have some kind of recommendation, and so on and so on. Because if you have, like here, this is the example, if you have, let's compare some restaurants, where should I go, or give me the example of good restaurant in my neighborhood, Google will choose according to your visibility, your web DNA. So this is what they already understand, that they will give to the end user. And then we are going to the next step which will be like your personal AI assistant, where we already understand that there is something, the data set that only Google knows about us. Maybe not only Google, but Google has the biggest database. Also Bing, for the Bing users, has a large database of this, what they are doing. If you are Bing users, but let's say 80%, 85% users are Google users. So they really have a large database. And for example, if you are thinking about the search on the end of the year, about, you know, the generative search, generative responsive, it's probable that you will ask for something like what my training should be next week, or what should I eat next week, and so on and so on. Basically, Google language models or Google AI models will check what have you done, what is your history, what you bought recently, what you like, and so on, what is your search history as well. And they will just use this data to give you the personal output, which will be completely different for every person in the world. So for the same search, it will be completely different for each of us. Basically, that will be real personal assistant, and they have already technology to do that. So it's more on the challenges that they have, on the trust level, and how really they would like to use this data and how much data they would like to share with the mainstream. Because, for example, how happy people will be if the generative search, they will place the last shopping item that you have bought. That's the questions right now, but they have the data and they will just do this to provide the expertise that they only can have. And also based on this history, they can also, in this can somehow the AI assistant can also give you the next steps. So not only this what you are searching today for, so let's say like, okay, how can I grow plants in the low light, but they can also, for example, give you the, in this example we have like what plants can I buy for because they already understand that you have low light situation. So what kind of plants you can buy, and also give you those plants from ads. So this is something that you are searching for the problem. They understand the intent that you have low lights garden, but they will already understand the next step, how they can sell you the services that you don't even imagine that you need. So that's something that can be very quite changing according to this what happens in the search. And here we have the explanation from the Google team, from the Google research team, how they are seeing the search with this kind of AI assistance. So as you can see, the search started with I just need electric bike. What kind of bike you can recommend me? And then maybe red bike, or maybe I don't know, this kind of specification, other kind of specification. And as you can see, they give you the ads everywhere. So the ads are really a core, because the ads are core of the Google business. Yeah. So 90% of the income from Google is from ads. So they will really include the ads into the generative AI. And this is also something that we have to be worried about, because there will be part of the search where we can cover the informational queries with the blog, with the articles and so on and so on. But closer to search, then probably ads will take over. In the long term, probably it will be very hard to have the generative search response with the organic search. Probably it will be everything from the rich data and from the ads, as you can see here. Okay, so to cover this app, all right, the last one. I think so. This is the last one. Okay, but maybe. Okay. So just to cover this app, we lost one slide. So just to cover this app, what is very important for you for the next year, for this year. First of all, you have to, if you create the content, if you plan the content, please plan the expert content. You really need the expertise, you really need the facts, you really need the dates and so on. So it has to be something unique that Google see the value. And this is also very clearly in this research paper, that they are looking for a unique content. And they say something like, if the user already read similar article, we are not going to give him a similar information because he already understands this knowledge. We will search for something else that he didn't read yet. So really focus on the expertise. Second, for the product, for the e-commerce owners, it's very important that your technology it's up to date and you send to Google as many data as you can, which means rich data, which means sitemaps, correct sitemaps with data, and so on. This is very important because Google are building this product graph from your data, and if they generate something about the bikes, you would like to be there. The next is to really focus on the way how you distribute the content. And this is very important, because if you only focus on creating the information on your blog, it's not enough. It's not enough because Google, if they Of course, it's enough if you just would like to, for example, do some kind of information about your product. It's fine. But if the query will be like, why the brand X is better than brand Z, they will try to combine the different sources. So they will look for Trustpilot, they will look for example, G2, they will look for, I don't know, local directories and say, this is what the user says about the brand X, and this is what the user says about the brand Y. And this is very, very important for you to really focus on the way how you distribute the information. And this opens completely new way of how the content should be generated and shared as well. So I believe that's are the main 3 points. Create the very good expertise content. Be careful about your technical expertise. So send as much rich data to Google as you can and distribute the content, because the Google will learn on the content which is spreaded. So I think that's all from us.
All right. So thank you, Damian, Paweł, for your great presentation. I think it's clear to us right now that every SEOs, professional, has to adapt. Like it or not, we all need to adapt these new changes. From create a great content, become an expert, and then use as much technical signal as possible, rich data, sitemap, and everything, and then focus on how we distribute our content, so it's not solely depend on our website anymore. Because I believe in the presentation, Paweł just mentioned that Google will verify our expertise in other site as well, right, Paweł? So I have few questions. Well, since Google is learning about our behavior, what we search, place that we attend, something like that. So how about the privacy issue that going to be happen? Because a lot of, I think most of European, or perhaps in European, Indonesian is probably is not on highest priority, but in European, privacy has become an issue, right? So how Google's learning all of this? Is this become a new problem for the search? Do you have any insight of it?
So we don't have other insights than this what they are mentioning in the research papers.
Oh, all right.
And I believe they already have the data, and this is also why if you have seen the CEO from Google, how many times they repeat the responsible AI and so on and so on. This is what the focus is on, because they already understand the big issues with the Facebook, the privacy issues with the Facebook. They already understand that ChatGPT is banned in some European countries, in Europe, like Italy, for example, because of the privacy issues. So they already understand that they have to cover this in very, I would say, safe way for the Google. But on the other side, this is exactly the same with what they are saying and then what they are using in the search algorithm. So probably they will use a lot of data to provide us a better experience, even if this data is not visible to end user. So it's the same like dwell time, for example, in the search. So they don't say that they are using this, but they are using this, and they are really looking what you are clicking and how fast you are clicking and so on and so on. So I believe there will be, on the first step, there will be a lot of this shadow informational gap. And later, probably, you have to, as always, just say that you are okay with using your, for example, email data in the search. And then you will be okay with this, and they will be okay with this as well. And if you are looking with what they are doing, according, for example, the answers on your emails in the Gmail, they can already generate the answers from the emails that you have in the Gmail. So the users will understand the technology it's used in the Gmail. the technology is used in the calendar, the technology is used in your location, in your map, and so on and so on. So I believe in the 1 year, it will be not really an issue that you are saying something like, hey, Paweł, you have been yesterday in the shop X, you bought X, Y, Z, and this is what you have to buy tomorrow. I think the people will just say, okay, that's useful, and the privacy will be not issue really. I think there will be a different story according to the ownership of the information, because right now the way how the language models learn and this what they are using is quite controversial, because for example they are using on the data which is private, let's say, or which has some kind of legal issues. So for example, you can ask Google right now or ChatGPT or whatever to write next chapter of book Y. So if you can imagine one book, in English book probably, and then you can just say like, okay, write me a next chapter of the book, like, I don't know, whatever. They can do this because they already understand the book, they already understand everything what was in the book and so on, and it's processed. And this is something which is not really legal from the point of view how the legality works in Europe, in the United States and so on, because you cannot really use this as a something for like just like a starting point for your product. So I think that will be some kind of, that could be some kind of leading issue factor for Google more than privacy. Because if you can imagine, there will be no organic search, or the organic search will be very limited. There will be just few very good pages which will be trusted sources like Wikipedia, NASA, I don't know, whatever, yes, science and so on. So it will be very, very difficult for a typical website owner, or even for media like BBC Media and so on. They will be in the news, but nothing else. They will be very difficult for them to really reach the user without paying for ads. And this is something which probably can cause some kind of legal actions according to this, how Google use the data. Maybe you are aware, in some countries, Google has to pay publishers for the data. There are some exceptions in the world, like Australia, France, and so on, and they have to pay to publishers. So maybe that will be something that it will be more often.
All right. Okay. So guys, if you have anything to ask, please post your question right now. We have several questions from Iqbal Saputra, but I think some of the question already been answered. Yeah. So there are some like general question about AI specific. So Iqbal, if you can ask something that related to search engine, yeah, I think it would be best for us for our discussion. Okay, I would like to ask about content creation, because some of SEOs, yeah, some SEO practitioner now is it's kind of depend, yeah. Some of us is depend on the AI content, you know, like ask ChatGPT to create an article, something like that. So in my perspective, it would be quite useless because it doesn't provide any information, because LLM means that it's a learning model. But what do you think from your perspective, Damien and Paweł? What's the advantage? What's the pro and cons using purely AI generated content?
Well, I think if you're talking about purely AI generated content, there are probably two things here. And a few months back, Google said that, or maybe some people took this out of John Mueller's tweet probably that Google will punish VI content, but in February they published an official document saying that no matter how the content was generated, if it's useful, it will have chance to rank. But the other problem is that there is a lot of content that is not really providing any new knowledge or any expertise, and honestly, with the new AI models, it's easy to generate content that doesn't provide any additional knowledge to what has already been written. And from Google's point of view, there might not be much reasons to even index this type of content, because it also generates costs for them and doesn't really add any value. So in the long run, I think that using AI writing to support your process, to make it more efficient, but also remembering to add external knowledge and enriching your content with as many valuable sources as possible, and also with new knowledge might be the way to go. And also with the new capabilities of the language models, you will be able to generate content not only based on the training data that was used, let's say, months or years ago, but also provide the valuable input that the language model will be capable to build upon and to generate valuable structure, and also provide information on the facts that you've provided. And I think it's the way to go, and the way to generate content that that not only is useful to the user, but that will pass the fact-checking problems. So.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I will add something to this. So first of all, as Damian just mentioned it, there will be a problem. There is already a problem on content overproduction, and it was already a problem, yes, because we have a lot of people who just generate the content. Even it was human-generated content, it was still an issue for Google, index it or not index it. And maybe you remember there is a lot of problems, that people mention with indexation. So if you are Google, just imagine you are a Google and you have to decide what content it's worth to spend time on reading. So you have 1 million books to read, and you have to choose which books you have to read, and your time is just limited. So the way how Google will approach this, and especially with this kind of automated content creation, because we are talking about the AI, and right now you are thinking probably about AI like I'm going to the chat GPT and I spend 20 minutes or half an hour and I have article. But yes, in some cases you can have 300,000 pages in 1 hour. This is the way how people generate the content with AI, and it's also way to generate the content, yes? So this is what the Google has to decide. They have to decide if we are even spending time on reading this BS, whatever, because probably they don't. And this is what they said when they introduced the helpful update. Then on the domain level, not on the page level, on the domain level, they will give you some kind of credibility score according to this, how much content is just not useful. And not useful, it means like there is no new knowledge in it, it's pure written, low quality, and so on and so on. And based on this, they will say like, okay, you are okay, we are reading you, or you are not okay and we are not even reading you. So there is something like a second or third index in Google, and you can check this If you are on the workshop on the SEOCON, I will show you how to check this. But you can check this, how many pages from your domain was already visited by Google, and how many it's just like low quality content and they don't even want to display this in the index. So this is something that they will do. And if your quality score will be lower than X, then threshold, your whole domain will be just not visible in index. They will do something like they do already. We are calling this -10. So all your results will be -10. So they are just not visible on the first page, which means like -10, it's like you are almost banned, but you are not banned. Yes, so you cannot really say like there is something wrong, but you are banned indeed. So that will be the reason how they will treat your website, and probably they will not even care about the content that you create. And this is very serious, because if they will give you this kind of low authority badge, then probably that can impact all your visibility or your web DNA in the future. So that's something that you have to be very careful how you generate the content, how much content you publish, how much content is published with the facts checking and so on. And if you look how Google checked the way, they also checked where the facts were, for example, visible first time. So they have the history, like, let's say web archive, but internal, and they say like, okay, this guy is true, this article is true because he already mentioned this, and this, and those are facts. We can check this, they are okay. And there is something new in this. So they say like, okay, facts 9 on 10, there is something new, extra points, we can display this, and we will see how users are happy with the content or not happy and so on. But at least they will display your content. But if you just, regenerating the content which already existing, and you are doing this on the scale, then in the long run, probably it's not going to be helpful. Yes, it's still working. So I mean, like right now, the system on the Google side and on the Bing side, they are just indexing this large amount of content, but it's not for long. Surely not for long.
All right. Okay. I'll explain this to our Indonesian audience ya, first in bahasa. Ya. So guys, basically tadi dari Paweł dan Damian tuh katakan gini. Jadi Google itu punya penilaian on domain level ya. Jadi pada saat konten kalian tidak memberikan value baru ya, karena balik lagi large language model itu bicara tentang informasi knowledge yang ditrain dalam sebuah dataset. Ya, jadi kalau tidak ada sesuatu yang baru, lama-lama Google bisa menilai kalian dari domain level bahwa konten kita itu kayak domain ini nih kayak nggak berharga. Karena kan kayak tadi dia bayangkan kalau Google tuh seperti orang yang mau baca buku, ya. Mending baca buku dari yang mana? Ya kalau ada ternyata buku yang lebih bagus, dia akan favor ke buku yang lebih bagus. Jadi perhatikan pada saat kita bikin konten, ya. Jangan sampai konten kita tuh gitu-gitu aja, walaupun pakai AI atau nggak pakai AI. Jadi tadi juga dibilang ya, nggak pakai AI pun juga sama. Kalau kontennya gitu-gitu aja, tidak kasih value yang baru, ya kita nggak akan diberikan favor sama Google. Dan hati-hati ya, pada saat penilaian sudah di level domain, nah itu bisa-bisa satu domain nilainya turun. Kira-kira begitu ya. Jadi pakai AI pure silakan yang selama helpful content, tapi jangan lupa factual update itu penting. Tambah value baru ke search engine. Itu jawaban dari kesimpulan jawaban dari tim Neuron. Alright, questions, more questions. So I don't know, how long do we have time?
Yeah, we see one question here, just a new one, so I can answer this question, and that maybe that will be the last one.
Okay.
So here there is a question from Brenda, which is about the e-commerce and rich data. I think it's quite important, the rich data on the e-commerce, how to stand out from the competitors in the search engine using the rich data. It's quite important question right now, because, for example, in e-commerce, what is in the rich data? So just to let you know, according to this, if you don't really use the rich data is just a structure like a database, and you have a parameter and value. So the parameter can be a price and the value is 100. You have a parameter like a product title. The product title can be like a red bicycle, and so on. So first, what you have to do, according to this, stand out from the competitors, you have to check your every value that you are sending to Google, how close it is to the user intent, to the user search. If it's just a red bike or it's red bike for a child 5 to 6 years old, which is better, yes? If the description is rich, text rich and so on, how about the way how the people are searching, how the people are comparing the products and so on. So all the data that you can, I would say, enrich in your content should be enriched. And this is very, very important. And also we are working with the large brands, like for example, Decathlon. And Decathlon are using the Contadu and the Neuron Writer for optimizing the product description. So this is what they are doing. They are just optimizing the product description to be more useful, to be more or closer to the user intent. And of course, they are sending this data also as a rich data, because the category data, category description is also rich data. The product description, it's a rich data. So are sending this information to the Google. And of course, they have a great results with this kind of approach. Not only on the ads level, because of course on the ads level there is much better way because the Google understand the product better, but also on the organic level as well, because the Google get a richer data according to, for example, product description. So it's something that you really have to look in your product description, in your titles, in your category, in your tags, because you are sending a text as well. And it's not only e-commerce, because, for example, you can also send in rich data, for example, reviews. So this is also quite important. What kind of reviews you are sending according to a product? Are you sending author data if you are sending the information to Google? Like, for example, who is the author of the product description? That's also something that could be valuable. If you look how Google treats the author data and author authority on the blog level, it's quite important, and you can see that it will be the same on the product level. So, for example, if you are e-commerce and you have someone who will be visible by Google, of course, you can create this persona, yes, as an expert in specific topic, and this expert has some kind of snippets next to the products, like, okay, this is review from let's say you have a restaurant and you have a review from the most famous cook in your country. Then, of course, this is the authority that you would like to have. Yes, this is what you would like to send to Google. That someone very famous said that 5 on 5 stars for this product. So this is the way how you can, I would say, enrich the data that you are sending to Google. Because the way how you send the data is just a technical way. You just send the rich data and they just understand this on fly. But what you are sending in the data is your strategy, what and how the data is related, and so on and so on. So I think there is a lot of things to do there, and also you can use AI, because we are talking here about that AI is dangerous or it's not useful or not efficient when it's copycatting. But AI can be used in a very, very effective way. For example, compare product A with product B for, let's say, I don't know, for a wedding. Why this dress will be better than other dress for a wedding. And if you have this kind of generated text, even with AI, it's a new text. It's something that never happens before. So that's something that could be very, very useful for Google and for your audience as well.
All right. So thank you, Damian, Paweł, for your insight. So guys, you can meet Neuron's teams next week live, in Jakarta, 24th and 25th of May. So book your date and let's discuss it furthermore off-site, or in the event. So I would like to bring my fellow Ryan to the screen. So Ryan is the CEO of ToffeeDev. He is the initiator of our international SEO conference in Jakarta, SEOCON 2023. So Ryan, a bit about SEOCON. Yeah, what do you bring to SEOCON this year?
I will, first of all, I will say thank you for Paweł and Damien for sharing, and Victor for hosting this event. Dan selamat malam semuanya, apa kabar? Wow, in the last 1.5 hours, my mind is blown away. There's a lot of question that I got regarding of SEO, the future of SEO, and I'm very glad that you guys coming to Jakarta to share with us. For those who are outside of Indonesia who want to come and learn, I think the SEO landscape will change in this year. I'm start talking with my team to change our service product because it's no longer relevant, I guess. Okay, but of course that's why we as a team do SEOCON. For those of you who haven't heard about SEOCON is a SEO conference. We're gonna do it at 24th and 25th May at the Casablanca Hall, Jakarta. I would like to invite you guys to learn. Paweł and Damien will come to the event as with some other speakers. We're gonna learn a lot with this changing landscape. We're not gonna talk about solely on SEO, but also on other topics. And what I heard, we also gonna do giveaway for today. Is it correct, Paweł?
Yeah, giveaway. Yes, sure.
Okay.
What do you have in mind, Ryan? Come on.
Okay, so how to do the giveaway? So maybe let's do it this way. For those of you who got 1 or 2 insights, please post it on your Instagrams. Please make sure you tag SEOCon.id, SEOCon.id.
Let me type, Ryan. SEOCon.id,
Yeah.
right? Then
Yes. And then just give your biggest takeaway from this 1 hour session. And then the team will send you for those who are lucky, the first 5 will get a free ticket for SEOCon. And also for those who are having question, there's a lot of good question in the chat.
yes,
Okay.
a lot of good question, but so little time.
Yeah. So those who are giving question on the chat, the team will. I will save the chat. Okay. The team will contact you if you are using the right name. The team will contact you and give you will give you a free ticket. You will be contacted via WhatsApp or email in the next 24 hours.
Okay, so in bahasa, Ryan.
Okay,
katakan yang ini.
Dalam bahasa. Jadi untuk teman-teman yang dapetin 1 atau 2 insight, oke, bisa post di Instagram. Pastikan untuk tag @seocon.id. Jadi kasih 1 atau 2 insight yang didapetin dari acara ini. 5 yang beruntung bakal dapetin 1 tiket SEOCon. Oke, 5 yang beruntung. Oke, ditambah untuk tadi yang bertanya, yang punya pertanyaan yang bagus, tim bakal lihat untuk pertanyaan-pertanyaan tersebut. Besok dalam 24 jam kalian akan dihubungi untuk mendapatkan tiket gratis dari SEOCon Jakarta juga. Jadi pastikan acaranya 24 sampai 25 Mei, minggu depan, tinggal 1 minggu. Paweł dan Damien bakalan datang ke Indonesia untuk sharing apa yang mereka bakalan tahu. Hey, maybe Damien and Paweł, you can share what you gonna discuss during SEOCon.
What will you bring to your presentation in SEOCon?
So we will cover the way. So we have 2 spots on the SEOCon. So we have a presentation, and in the presentation we will focus mostly on the way how you can optimize your website for the changes which are expected in 2023. and which will be very related to the semantic SEO. So how to communicate with the AI, that will be the main subject, what to do to communicate better, more effective, and so on. And also we will host a workshop after the second day. So after the second day, you are very welcome to join the free workshop. And on this free workshop, we will just explain you how some of our customers winning the SEO challenges according to the semantical SEO, so what they are doing, where is the focus, and so on. So it's a little bit close to the question which was asked by, I don't remember the name anymore, but like what we can do, for example, in e-commerce for a product optimization in rich data. So we will cover this during the workshop, and we will just give you very practical tips what to do next day. So if you are just on Friday maybe you are still working on Friday, I don't know, I hope so. So if you are still working on Friday, then there will be some elements that you can optimize on Friday in your web shop or in your just website. Because we already understand that there will be a huge part of the audience which is related to e-commerce. So we will try to focus a little bit more on the e-commerce way of approaching to the semantical SEO.
Oke. So guys, ini topik menarik ya karena kita akan bahas tentang semantic SEO ya. Jadi kalau kalian tahu tahun lalu ya saya bawa tentang semantik ya, di WordCamp juga bawa semantik, tapi tahun ini begitu saya mikir topiknya semantik, wah ini Neuron mau datang, dia mau present langsung karena saya belajar dari tim Neuron juga ya. I learned a lot from Neuron teams about semantic entities, topical authority, so you guys know right directly from the source ya. I will not giving a presentation about semantic now. Yeah, I leave it to the expert. Yeah, so buat kalian semantik itu adalah teknik baru ya, bagaimana kalian bisa komunikasi dengan AI, ya bagaimana mesin bekerja. Jadi looking forward ya buat teman-teman yang hadir di sini datang ke SEOCON. Ya kayak berarti 2 sesi ya Ryan ya, dari Neuron ya. Yang pertama dia presentasi.
Yes.
Yang hari pertama dia presentasi, kedua workshop ya.
Dia dua-duanya di hari kedua. Oke, jadi dari kedua.
Oh, dari kedua dua-duanya ya.
Yes.
So, iya, oke.
Pagi kalau dapetin sesuatu dari kontennya dia, bisa datang lagi ke sesi workshopnya.
Dan workshopnya gratis ya, nggak ada biaya tambah. All free guys. Ya, so.
SEOCON-nya ya tinggal daftar ke SEOCON-nya. Jadi buat yang belum daftar, bisa daftar langsung di SEOCON.
Daftarnya di seocon.id, right?
SEOCON.id, yes.
Okay, so Ryan, is there anything you like to add?
Buat teman-teman yang digital marketer, SEO, kita bisa lihat dalam hitungan hari perubahannya udah sangat drastis, dan kita mesti lihat apa yang kita bisa update dari digital marketing dan dari strategi yang kita gunakan di perusahaan ataupun di agency. So saya undang untuk semuanya yang mau updates, yang mau belajar lebih banyak, mau menang dari kompetisi untuk ikut ke SEOCON, dan mungkin kita bisa bertemu di SEOCON Jakarta.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan SEOCON sekarang nggak cuma tentang SEO ya, karena ini bicara tentang conversion juga ya, tentang customer experience ya. Itu topik saya tuh. Setelah saya pikir saya mati, wah udah ada masternya, saya pindah arah. Ya. Jadi looking forward buat ketemu semua ya. Ryan, mungkin ini akhir dari bincang-bincang kita. So Damien, Paweł, this is the end of our webinar. Thank you so much.
Paweł, thank you very much.
Looking forward to see you guys. Ya. So terima kasih semua buat waktunya. Semoga 1,5 jam ya, 1.5 hours. It's a productive hour for us to learn new insight ya, right from the expert itself ya. So thank you so much buat kalian ya, sampai ketemu di SEOCON 2023 24-25 Mei ya. Nanti kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol, dan oh ya buat peserta webinar kali ini ya, saya lagi coba ngajak Damien dan Paweł untuk kita bisa nanti ada semacam kumpul-kumpul secara dengan lokal community SEO ya Ryan ya. Kita lagi coba usahakan di luar SEOCON, semoga bisa nambah waktu kalian juga buat ngobrol buat teman-teman di Indonesia. Okay, Ryan, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank
Okay,
you,
bye.
Paweł.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Damian, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. See you next
Bye.
event.